Shalom to those that is watching this live later. And shalom to those that is getting on the live at any moment. Shalom, shalom. The water love. Appreciate it. This lesson is through the spirit. Lord willing is edifying and straight to the point. Things that came to mind brought this across, but it's all for the edifying of the sheep. The times that we in, you know, we should be watching the news. You know, his brothers getting in there, getting on multiple situations, multiple topics, multiple points, getting on brothers that's even teaching and bringing up false doctrine, you know. And, you know, the Lord brought me to doing this lesson off of the things I heard, the things I'm meditating and thinking of. So first and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to the one true power, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who grew well and teach well through the Spirit. A mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit, teaching His word and believing in His word, but willing that they all can continue to endure and be sincere in sound doctrine and in the same Spirit. Shalom to the Akwathiyam, believers of the faith in His truth, but willing that they can continue to pursue their lot, which is being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. And Lord willing, most have mercy on other brothers and sisters not in the faith. My mind gone. So again, double honors to the other apostles. And mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit. And shalom to the Akwathiyam, believers of His faith and His truth. So we're just going to hop right into it. It's lucky for that. My mind is, I'm thinking of precepts and I got my mind where it needs to be. But you see the title of this lesson? Salaki. Yes, our faith is going to push us the distance. Yes, our faith is going to push us the distance. Salaki. Right, our faith is definitely going to push us to the distance. Our faith is going to push us to the distance through YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. Why even more title of the lesson than that is because the time that we in, you know, of course we getting close to the coming of YAHAWASHI, but we getting closer to the MOTB. We getting closer to Jacob's trouble. We getting closer to the love of many shall wax cold. We getting closer to even your files should be those of your household, right? We're getting closer to the physical affliction of this ministry. We're getting super close. So your faith should be up. I know every camp outside of Great Millstone always saying law, 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 right? We're not here to boast in the law and the things that we do in the law, right? We're here to boast in Hamashiach Yahawashi, right? YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. right? Because if the Lord abides in us and we abide in him, we're going to do things that's pleasing unto him, right? This is all about the Lord. This is what the brothers kept saying. This is not about us, right? Yes, how many laws that you keep. No, this is about Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. Do you fear him? Do you have a high reverence for him? Are you terrified of him? Right? Do the spirit hit you where some things that you can stop, certain things that you can fix, right? Are you making audibles, right? If the spirit of the Lord is in you, you're going to make different audibles, right? To present yourself worthy in the eyes of Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. To get on that chariot is only promised to the elect. Do you know you're the elect? Right? Of course, you want to have faith that you are of the hopeful elect. And the hopeful elect is always trying to do things that's pleasing to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. Right? He's the it factor. Right? This is not about me pleasing y'all, but by pleasing the Lord, I got to feed his sheep. Regardless if the many of the sheep don't want to hear, and that only 1, 2, 3, 4 actually really hear it. I don't know who really is the sheep of the Lord. Now, I could tell that, you know, my household will be watching this, right? So they got to grow in faith, man. Shit ain't about to get easy. Shit get easy when we get the kingdom. If we still in this captivity, I mean, there's room for shit to get worse, right? So let me just start off with this one joint. I might go to multiple points. But this is James chapter 2. You can read in the King James. I'm going to read in the NLT right now. It says, what good is it, dear brothers and sisters, if you say you have faith but don't show it by your actions? Can that kind of faith save anyone? Right? If you say you have faith but you don't show it in actions. 1 John 3:18, what we keep bringing out. Children, don't love in tongue or word or tongue. Love in action, love in deed or truth. Right? This is an action-based ministry. This is a faith-based ministry. How can you show your works if you ain't making actions? And that's the same with faith. You show that you have faith by your actions. It says, suppose you see a brother or a sister who has no food or clothing, and you say goodbye and have a good day, stay warm and eat well, but then you don't give that person any food or clothing. What good does that do? Right? And I seen how the apostles, when they was doing they camp that recently just passed, somebody was saying that they was homeless, and they gave money. Each of them gave whatever they gave, right? And that, of course, afflict me, because there's a lot of times I'm near an area where I know people about to go get crack, right? And hey, if you know the person about to go defile themselves, hey, you're not in the wrong for doing those things. But say if they just come and they only saying that they about to get food, hey, sometimes that afflict me, because I've been around the block where people would say they hungry and they about to go get crack or they about to go get liquor. And even if you giving, and that can blot out a lot of sins, I don't, like my mom used to say, I am not going to provide for your addiction or provide for your habit. So yes, we here for the sick, the weak, the poor, those that need food and clothing, because the YAHAWASHI said it in Matthew the 25th chapter, right? And this all goes by your actions, but really, which is faith, right? Another precept was coming to mind, but I want to stay on track. This is Matthew the 25th chapter, and I'm going to go down to where the point is actually at. This is Matthew 25 verse 34. It says, then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, come ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the earth. For I was in hunger, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visit me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee in hunger, and fed thee, or thirsty, and gave thee drink? Right? And then he even said it to the stranger, which is really, symbolic to Esau. So those that are of the elect, those that you feed, you give thirst, you give clothes to through the Spirit, you giving it to YAHAWASHI. Like I tell my household, it's times where a neighbor might constantly ask for something. And then, yes, some people is still in a diluted way in this world where they just saying stuff, or they don't know how to manage their money, or yes, they might have had where they smoking weed, or they getting it, they're saying it like it's seeming for them, but yeah, their man might want to go smoke or drink. We in captivity, and a lot of Jake that don't got this truth, they're even lower, right? So yes, sometimes you're gonna say no because you might not have it. Then sometimes your conscience, right, in your heart might say, you know what, I don't want to feed their habit. But say if they directly say they want food, there's times where you can go and get somebody food. If the thought is too much in your mind that they hungry, and you think by demeanor, especially by fingers, just breaking it down, fingers that they do a certain type of drug. If they say they want food, it's not about, hey, what do you want? Hey, like if wherever we're at and it's food, you go get, hey, yo, we can go in here and go get a sub. No, I don't want that. Okay, let's go get this. Let's go get that. No, I don't want that. Just give me the money. But you said you hungry. It's certain things because at any moment or whatever you give, you want to always give like you're giving it to YAHAWASHI. That's the main point, right? Don't want to butcher it too much, right? Back to James 2, verse 17 in the NLT. It says, so you see faith by itself. You see faith by itself isn't enough unless it produces good deeds. It is dead and useless without an action. This is how you know faith. Like when people say, "Oh man, you faith thumpers, man," right? It's the law too, right? But guess what? You got more works than just the law, right? Which is doing this ministry, being a teacher, right? How do you manage and order your household? Those is part of the works, right? And another part of the works is how you examining yourself, rebuking yourself, building yourself, you know? But faith comes with action. In order to have action, you got to have faith. To have faith, you got to have action. Now, someone may argue some people have faith, others have good deeds. But I say, how can you show me your faith if you don't have good deeds? I will show you my faith by my good deeds. You say you have faith, or you believe that there is one God. Now, what we're about to go to, Eleazar, he showed he had faith by laying himself down for this truth. Let alone he laid himself down for the future, the next generation, so that they could take this example. Don't try to live another extra day, just because your life or you being tormented, your life is on the line, right? If it comes that you might have to defile yourself, right, and somebody forcing you, no, it's better to strive until the truth, until death. Yes, this world is defiled. That's different if you eating some food and it got fat mixed in it, right? Because we're saved under grace. But if it comes to being tortured, right, you being forced this thing, right, you don't want to take it, right? If this is the only thing to eat, and it can be clean in some type of way, but guess what? You might have to eat fish, right? Do things that's more beneficial so you don't have that burden of conscience, right? That goes by faith. This goes by a deed. Things that's pleasing to the Lord, and you do those things, guess what? That is a deed, right? It says, you say you have faith, or you believe that there is one God. Good for you. Even the demons believe this, and they tremble in terror. How foolish can't you see that faith without good deeds is useless, right? And a lot of our deeds is what we do for others, what we do for the elect, right? You might have a sister in this faith. You might be close to another brother that labor with your husband's labor with your brother, and he got a wife, and y'all cool. The things that you do for her, right? A good deed. Hey, yo, sis, what's wrong? You need help? Or sis, yeah, hey, what's up? And she's saying things she going through. Hey, yo, sis, I could pull up. We can, hey, let's go do something. That's a good deed just to get her mind away from that, right? She could be dealing with a back problem. She could be dealing with emotion. She could be whatever it is. Hey, it could be another sister, hey, that your husband might have. Just saying if. It's just not many brothers that do, but say if a brother do, and a sister could be dealing with a death, even though we know in Jeremiah 16 we shouldn't be mourning for the dead. But say if it happens, right? If I'm not good at it, hey, I gotta suck it up and hey, that woman gotta know, hey, look, I'm not good at this. So I'll give you a hug, and guess what? She has to have mercy and be like, look, I know he not good with that, but at least, giving me a smile, a hug, maybe try to make me laugh, those things, right? That is a good deed, right? When we see the estate of somebody else. And I'm even speaking on that on experience, right? Where my wife might go through some, my first one or my second one, I wouldn't know how to deal with sad moments, right? Because my sad moments, I'm steady talking about the Lord or in a spiritual anger. But sometimes you gotta bring yourself to a lower state for those in the ministry, right? And some people that's in this thing will have to understand how you move, right? To not pressure you too much. And guess what? That all goes to deeds, you know? Even when it come to children, right? You might have a wife that have that's watching your child, right? Regardless if she's not looking as a duty, but that woman taking care of a child that didn't come out of her womb, right? That's another deed, man. You raising that child to either be a daughter of Zion or that son to be, a man of the Lord. Just like my little man. I mean, that little TJ is mine. I don't care what nobody say, but he didn't come out my loins, right? So I treat him like like he did come out my loins, but in reality he didn't. So I put a lot of effort in it. Guess what? Through the Spirit, I believe that that's a deed, because who else he gonna have to guide him to YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI? It's the same with you, men or women, whoever you may be, even you children, right? Do I want to keep going? Yes, let's keep going. Verse 21. Don't you remember that our ancestor Abraham was shown to be right with the Most High by his actions when he offered his son Isaac on the altar? Right? And we know Romans 12:1 that we supposed to lay ourselves down like a living sacrifice. And you men, you doing this for the elect. Every day, guess what? You're doing a deed. Your action, your faith shows by your deed every day doing a lesson. This was not premeditated, but through the Spirit it was. Because what I was thinking, what I heard, what I learned last night, not everything I learned, but the main thing, and then it had me thinking. And, had my mind rest while I was at this water. And I said, what I'm going to go into, slide through the book. And then I just said, man, I'm going to have to go in faith again. I'm always going into faith. And then other things that's going on in the world. Yo, this would be a good topic. Every day is a great topic to go into faith, right? Even if the title was whatever it was yesterday, you got to have faith to believe that this scriptures is real, So faith goes a long distance, right? So, again, Isaac offered his son. How much more what you gonna offer? And that showed that he had faith by offering his son, right? It says you see his faith and his actions working together, right? They work together. They coexist together. His action made his faith complete. So your deeds that you do in this ministry on this earth, right, in this captivity, right, it completes your faith. That's why every day you what is it? 2 Corinthians the 13th chapter verse 5 down. I mean, probably 5 to 7. But even if you read the NLT, it hits where it says, examine your faith to see if it's genuine. And to examine yourself in action to see that faith. And if you see that it's not strong enough, what you doing, seeking it and examining yourself is going to increase your faith. A lot of us is not examining ourselves, right? Captain Zariak, this man said that John the Baptist is not in the truth. Didn't say that he's not waiting on the Lord. He said, I'm making food joints. We're building, we're starting, or they have certain situations where people can get their GED. Everything is what we're doing, what I did. But you ain't waiting on the Lord. Waiting on the Lord is being occupied, patient in the Lord, or waiting on the Lord is to be occupied in the ministry. How you gonna say you're not waiting on the Lord but you teaching? That don't make no sense. But that shows where the mind is at, right? This lesson not to get on him, but this is the point, right? Especially the number one thing that's building up the children of Israel is the ministry, man. How is your faith growing? You think food is building up your faith? Now, say if a man of the Lord is giving you food, who's to say that person gonna know unless they can tell by your spiritual demeanor? Like Bashar did the one time we was out. The dude was asking for money. I seen his cracked fingers, but this man was like, "What's the name of the Lord?" He said, "Jesus." Then he was about to turn and walk away. This man came back and said, "Then what is his name?" Right there and then, that man deserved $1. He deserved something, because now this man turned around and said, "What is the name?" Even though I know he was about to go gig, but you got to rebuke that spirit. This man asked for the name. What is his name then? If his name not Jesus, what is his name? And stayed for 20 minutes to hear the breakdown of the name. And then for 20 more, like 20 damn near whole minutes, he was trying to pronounce the name Yahawah, YAHAWASHI, constantly. Then seen him again another day, and he asked for bread. What's the name of the Lord? Jesus. Oh, I can't help you. I got my confirmation. That was just a spiritual moment for that moment, man. I was probably entertained. A spirit probably was dwelling with him at that moment, just to have a conversation with us, right? So his actions made his faith complete. And so it happened, just as the scriptures say, Abraham believed the Most High, and the Most High counted him as righteous because of his faith. He was even called the friend of God. And when we go to St. John 15, he was telling the disciples, I don't call you servants, I call you friends. Because, you know, a friend lay his life down for his friend, right? You want to be a friend of the Lord, right? Because even a friend stick closer than a brother, just like a sister. So you see, we are shown to be right with the Most High by what we do, not by faith alone. But they go in verses ahead, they go hand in hand, right? They meet each other together. I got 2 more verses. Rahab the prostitute is another example. She was shown to be right with the Most High by her actions when she hid those messengers and sent them safely away by a different road. Rahab gonna be the elect going into that damn dude, the Israelite, the bunker. Doesn't mean that she's gonna be the elect. That off of her doing that, guess what? Her and her household was covered by not being destroyed. That's what she got. That's all she got, right? And guess what? She even spoken about through these lessons as a memorial. But she is not an Israelite. She was an Amorite prostitute. But she knew that YAHAWASHI was real because of the things that happened to us. When you even go back into Joshua, she said, everybody lost their courage because with Yahawah, what your power has done in Egypt and what he did to the Red Sea. Everybody lost courage. And she hid the Israelite men knowing that her city, her home was going to be destroyed. Right? The Lord did that with Ruth. Right? The Lord used Cyrus to be anointed to allow Israel to go back, or really a remnant to go back and rebuild the ruins. Right? The Lord is using all people for his own purpose. Now, if he's using a heathen, that don't mean they elect. What happened to Ruth when she had a bed? You went right to Naomi, and Naomi nursed him. Right? He was nibbling off of Naomi's nipple, not Ruth. Right? Verse 26, it says, just as the body is dead without breath, so also faith is dead without works. Right? It go hand in hand. If you got faith, where's your work? Where your deeds at? Right? If you got deeds, where your faith? People are like, oh no, the work over this. No. What do real greedy, no offense to anybody that is overweight, but what do greedy fat people say? You got two delicious desserts, a cheesecake, no, a cherry, a real cherry pie, and a strawberry cheesecake. I know I love that cherry cheesecake. It's amazing. Real cherry pie is good too. I want both of them. Let me get both. So why not do both? Actions and faith. Build actions and faith. And it's not just one action is, oh, let me just feed the homeless. Let me go to every place and feed the homeless. That's not the only actions you can do. It's even going out doing these lessons, doing sit downs, taking the time to, you know what, let me meditate on a verse so I can go do an edifying lesson for the sheep. Those are actions, right? Being a shoulder for somebody, right? Either to cry on, for them to say something, but then it goes right versa. If you building them up, and in some cases, guess what? They gonna have to be there. Hey, yo, look, I'm gonna need my own space. Guess what? You gonna do a deed by handling your nerve system, right? And your own attribute. You doing a deed, especially when your husband is gone, right? And he's being a man, and yourself by not being a woman of the world, clocking his footsteps, or being having emulation, thinking about a whole nother woman, or thinking about shit that don't pertain to you. You could do a deed by applying yourself like Sarai. To call your husband Adawan is calling him Lord. He Lord over you. So now those thoughts in your mind go nowhere. Those is deeds too. When you try to put away your certain attributes of the women of the world or this westernized world, right? Because you're dealing with a man of the Lord. You don't want to put that burden. You don't want to be none of these women on this side because the Lord blessed you with one. I'm using all angles for all of us to know deeds that we can do for ourselves. You women, that's probably a mother to a child that's not yours under your husband, and you're nourishing that child. You building it up, right? Shoot, you might even pop that child. Guess what? You're doing a deed, right? Child not yours, and you raising it up like it is yours. You know what you do for a neighbor, right? Hey, it might even be for your family sometimes too. But still, you want to have a distance, because if they not coming in this faith and this fold, then it look like that that water not getting to them, right? They ain't getting sunlight, and then the sun is out, and they not getting it because they might be ignorant to unbelief. They might not believe. So always continue. If the seed is not growing there, you plant it somewhere else. That when you knock on the door for 20 minutes, then you get the answer. Nobody gonna open up. So keep it moving. It's all about constantly doing your deeds and your faith, right? And there's other things that we can do, right? Even yourself is a deed. Examining yourself, sharpening yourself, sacrificing things. That is a deed too, to benefit yourself, to be worthy for YAHAWASHI. I just want you to know it's multiple works, right? So before we even, do I want to go there? I want to get there, but I got other things that's coming to the heads. I'm gonna just read this verse 1-7 in Hebrews 11. Really, the whole chapter is based on faith, right? So, just want to go to this one because it hit, especially at camp. This is Hebrews 11:6. But without faith, it is impossible to please Him. And we just read in James, right? We can't have one without the other. So even with this faith, you're going to have works, but it's emphasizing that faith. You can't please the Lord if we don't have faith. Because why? Verse 1, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. right? Your faith has to consist of believing in these things, because then it would be impossible for you to please the Lord, right? It says, for he that cometh to the Most High must believe that he is. What is he is? YAHAWAH. He is what? He exists. In that he is YAHAWAH, right? He to be, or he exists, a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So again, it said, for he that cometh to the Most High must believe that he is. What is he is? YAHAWAH. He to be, or he is, he exists. And that he is, he to be, he exists. YAHAWAH is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. 2 Chronicles 15 and 13. Whosoever don't seek YAHAWAH shall be put to death. Right? By your works and the faith that you have, you're gonna make that a reality. Right? Because to even seek the Lord face, what is that? That is a deed. That is an action. Right? So you got to believe that YAHAWAH is, that he exists. Right? Now I got some other ones I want to get, but the point we're going to read is going to deal with bearing affliction. So let's read this beautiful story, because we got things ahead of us, man. This little affliction you're going through is preparing you for the worst that's actually going to get here. Is you ready for it? Are you ready? To know you ready is the things that you're applying yourself to in these days. So this is 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 18. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. Right? He was held down to eat swine's flesh. But he, choosing rather to die gloriously than to live staying with such abomination, spit forth and came of his own accord to the torment. Right? So he was held down to eat pork, but then what'd he do? Right? He wanted to live, he wanted to die a glorious death. Right? So he spit forth the food that was forced in him, as it behooved them to come that were dissolute, to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of the life to be tasted. But they that had the charge of that wicked feast of the old acquaintance they had with the man, taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision, basically clean food, meat that he can eat, right? Such as was lawful for him to use, and make as if he did eat flesh taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king. You see how low they made this man go? On this side, how low do you think Jay gotta go? Right? Look what Jay gotta do to be a celebrity. I've seen celebrities dress as a woman just to be funny. And that's already against, and they say they believe in the Lord. And when you bring out a scripture, no. This side is a whole demon, man. Because everybody don't want to bring out the scripture. Everybody don't want to get corrected. Camps don't want to get corrected, but now Genesis and BOW want to have a debate and go against each other when it comes to doctrine. If they was doing it in righteousness, they would basically be rebuking each other. No, it's Friday, Saturday. No, it's the lunar moon. It's crazy out here, man. Right? Real men of the Lord is not in this thing for no debating. They're rebuking you in the name of YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, so that they can get the blood off of their hands. Right? This Eleazar, when we keep reading, this man is thinking about YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, and what else is he thinking? Verse 22, it says, then in so doing he might be delivered from death if he act like he eating this pork. And fourth, like if the good food that he can't eat, the clean food he can't eat, if he act like he eating pork, he might be delivered from this death. For the old friendship with them find favor, and he began to consider discreetly and it became as became his age, in the excellence of his ancient years, in the honor of his great head, whereon was come in his most honest education from a child, or rather the holy law made given by the Most High. Therefore he answered accordingly and willed them straight away to send him to the grave. Nah, man, just send me to the grave, man. I don't want to do that. First he had to think to himself. Now, for us, when this MOTB come, you thinking now. Because when that come, you ain't going to have no thinking. Right? Because your flesh just might take over and you might just go ahead and do it. Right now you're thinking. Believe that it is what it is. The RFID chip, right? A mechanism that's going to be implanted in your hand, right? Or in your forehead, right? Right? You got to, that Revelations 20:4, when that time comes, those men of the Lord is going to be willing to die for this, right? For the word, for the witness of YAHAWASHI, for not bowing down or worshiping the image or, towards this beast, or taking a MOTB. What you going to do, right? Faith is going to take you the distance through YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, right? I know, I'm scared. But the scare that I'm talking about is a spiritual scare that it's not going, oh my God, what I'm going to do? Man, we still got work to do. The Lord didn't give us a spirit of fear. I'm more fearful of YAHAWASHI. That's what I'm scared of. If I do take it, it's a wrap for me and my household. Right? You can't love this life that much that you got to put a chip in your hand. Oh, I need food. You don't really trust in the Lord, man? You don't believe. I'm not a true. I'm a real fisherman, not a fisherman like everybody out here that's fishing, right? But I believe, say if it did come, that like when that time come, there's no food and no building, but if I find a fishing rod or a stick with a string, that, dude, my faith gotta be that I just throw that rod or that string out and the fish just bite it. Actually, more than five, because I know at that time your family, whoever with you, gonna be hungry. Multiple fish just biting at, and I gotta have that type of faith, man. 24. For it becometh not our age, he said, in any wise to dissemble, whereby many young persons might think that Eleazar, being fourscore old and 10, were now gone to a strange religion. If he did it, he was thinking about the other sheep, the other children, right? I mean, we only got a few more verses to read in that, but I want to get a precept before we keep going. I think it's 2 Timothy 2:10. It says, therefore I endure all things. Let me verse 9, it says, wherefore I suffer trouble as an evildoer, even unto bonds, but the word of the Most High is not bound. Therefore I endure all things for the elect's sake, that they may also obtain the salvation which is in Hamashiach Yahushai with eternal glory. It is faith saying, for if we be dead with him, we shall also live with him. If we suffer, we shall also reign with him. If we deny him, he also will deny us. If we believe not, yet he abideth faithful, he cannot deny himself. So if, that just smack, if Yahawashi abide in you and you deny him, Yahawashi is not denying himself. So Yahawashi was never in you, nigga. I'm saying nigga because a nigga don't got Yahawashi in him. Right? If you in this thing, you gonna suffer. Because Yahawashi suffered. And after he suffered, what? He's reigning. He's on his throne. And he's going to come down here to actual physically reign in the midst of the nations. We're going to reign with him. The elect, Romans 8, they're going to be joint heirs with Yahushua. Right? So Eleazar, he was thinking about the youth. Guess what? That's the spirit of an elect man. No, man, but the young men. You got to endure this. You got to endure this for the elect's sake. And so, verse 2 Maccabees 6:25, and so they through my hypocrisy desire to live a little time, a moment longer, should be deceived by me. and I get a stain to my old age and make it abominable? For though for the present time I should be delivered from the punishment of men, yet should I not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither live nor die. And even though we escape these fools, if we actually choose to do that, you think you're going to escape the mighty power of Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI? I highly doubt it, brother. Right? We couldn't even dodge these captivities. 27, it says, wherefore now, manfully changing his life, I will show myself such a one as my age requireth, and leave a notable example to such as be young to die willingly, courageously, for the honorable and holy law. And when he said these words, immediately he went to torment. And it's amazing that he said that so that the young to die willingly and courageously. When you go to the 7th chapter, it's young men that actually die willingly, courageously. And even the mother built man courage. So they understood what happened to Eleazar. So for the 7th chapter, that the mother and the 7 sons knew what happened to Eleazar, because that's the chapter before the 7th chapter, right? So what the apostles is, what they endured, starting with Apostle Tahar for 40 years, those that's coming into faith under them, we're going to be able to endure the affliction of people saying, oh man, GMS, they speak to the wall. Guess what? You affiliates, you GMS too. Because guess what? It's most of the time where you speaking to the wind. Nobody coming up, and then people looking like, oh man, they not even talking to nobody. They dissing you too. When they dissing the teachers that was before you and you got edified by them, guess what? They dissing you too. When people say F the apostles, they're effing, they're saying fuck the seeds that came with them, because you are a reflection of them, because they come in the spirit of Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. Right? It's not about what Apostle Tahar got in his house or Apostle Gabar, right? It's about what they're feeding you through the Rakak Wadash. And it better be wisdom, knowledge, understanding, which I'm able to see. I'm able to hear. The Lord gave me 2 ears and 2 eyes to see, 2 ears to hear, and a mouth to shut up or speak. Right? So they're leaving examples. Eleazar showed us example to die willingly with courage. Verse 29, it says, they led him, changing the good will they bear for him a little more into hatred, because he foresaid speeches proceeded as they thought from a desperate mind. But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, it is manifest unto Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI that have the holy knowledge, that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in my body by being beaten, but in soul am well content to suffer these things, because I fear him. Because I fear him. Do you fear means to have a reverence and to be terrified. Right? We're going to read verse 31, but I got to get this. Let me get the classic in Matthew, the 10th chapter. Matthew, the 10th chapter, in verse 28. It says, fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul. Oh, Salaki. Telling you, got out of work, tired. It says, fear not them, Salaki again, Matthew 10:28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Right? Don't fear what they can do. Fear Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. Don't fear what they can do to you. Fear Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, that can destroy both soul and body. I gotta read that again. 2 Maccabees chapter 6 verse 30. But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, it is manifest unto Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI that have the holy knowledge, that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in my body by being beaten, but in soul am well content to suffer these things, because I fear him. He's not talking about the king Antiochus and his damn decrees. He's talking about fearing Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, man. And thus this man died, leaving his death for an example for a noble courage. Noble mean righteous. Noble in the Hebrew is a dar, and a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but unto all his nation. So this courage was for all the nation of Israel, baby. For you men, for you women, and for you children, right? This is Sirach chapter 25. Sirach chapter 2, verse 1 and 5. It says, my son, if thou come to serve Yahawah Shema Shai, prepare thy soul for temptation. Yes, everyday temptation. But then when you think about prophecy, you're preparing yourself for that temptation. Revelations 3, verse 10. The hour of temptation. The hour of temptation is the charagma. Right? Coming in this thing, you have to prepare yourself for temptation now. Don't wait the last minute. Right? We just seen Eleazar. He prepared himself because he believed in the Lord. Now when that time come, it was right there in front of him. It says, set thy heart aright and constantly endure. Right, there you go. And endure is an action. Constantly keep fighting. Keep pushing. Make not haste in the time of trouble. Right? And a lot of people hasten, then they fall, go back into the world. That's just the Lord blowing your damn candle. It says, cleave unto him, depart not away. Right? If you fear the Lord, hell no, you're not going to depart. Because without him, it is complete emptiness. That thou mayest be increased in thy last end. Right? St. John 6:44. If Yahawah draw you to the Son, YAHAWASHI is going to raise you in the last days. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, which we doing that now, but even more when that MOTB come, right? When you get removed out of your house, you're going to take it cheerfully. It says, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Right? This is one of the strongest, precepts from verse 1 to 5, showing affliction is part of being proven. Right? Because when we keep going into this chapter, which is beautiful, especially the 10th verse, nobody was confounded that called on the name of the Lord. But you have to know that this is a trial. Just because you're building up your faith, don't think that it's not going to be tested. Romans chapter 5, verse 3. And not only so, but we glory in tribulation also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience. And patience, experience. And experience hope. And the hope maketh not ashamed. The hope maketh not ashamed. Because the love of the Most High is shed abroad in our hearts by the Rakakwadash, which is given unto us. Who's it given to? It's given to those that actually believe, right? That's why we have to endure. Patience is patience and experience is endurance, develop strength of a character, right? It builds up your confidence, right? And that's what, your faith is going to increase. Yahawah Shema Shai got us, man. And this is why we want to, right now, while we got the time, we want to build ourselves now. Right? Tribulation builds spiritual character and hope. When people playing the game, they call it a player build. But in this truth, you got character build. The elect is getting builded in all aspects, man. That's how you know that this word is lethal, because it really builds you up, right? 2 Timothy 2 and 3. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahawashi Mashiach. We are likened to be soldiers endure for warfare. Guess what, brothers and sisters? This is a warfare. Ephesians 6 and 12, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and high places. Right? You see things of the flesh, But you got to know the angels on the left-hand side is going against you. Even in the book of Daniel, the 4th chapter, verse 7, the Lord ruleth in the kingdom of men, and he giveth to whomsoever he wants. The Lord is ruling in his kingdom. That's why when we talk about this MOTB, this is the MOTB. This is the Lord's MOTB. Talk about the missiles, those are the Lord's missiles. Because the Lord sent the left-hand side to give Esau the knowledge to make these devices. Hebrews 12, 5 and 7. It says, and ye have forgotten the exhortation, the encouragement, which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not thou the chastening of YAHAWASHI. We getting this now through this captivity, let alone what's about to lead even more. This is all the suffering we got to deal with. Nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. Right? Don't, just because a brother getting on you on something, don't be faint-hearted. Oh my goodness, brother's always rebuking me. Sharpen up. For whom YAHAWASHI loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he reverence. Right? And really, to be chastised is to be chastised spiritually. Each lesson most likely is a chastisement. I got a sickness. You think that's the only chastisement you getting? You got cancer, diabetes. You think that's the only chastisement or the rebuke that you get? No, it's from the men of the Lord. Sometimes the men of the Lord don't even know you, but they know Israel. You know what's going on in the world, and brothers do a lesson out of it. And guess what? It'd be somebody from a whole nother city. Oh, I think he's talking about me. Guess what? That happened to me. And that man don't know me. No, but I know it was the Lord through the Spirit. This Hebrews 12 and 7, it says, but ye endured chastening. The Most High dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? What father is Yahweh if he don't afflict his children? Oh, you can't do that. Man, says who? Right, this is James 1 and 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation. For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which YAHAWASHI hath promised to him that love him. You see what's at the end? When you endure this temptation, when you endure this affliction, a crown. 2nd Ezra chapter 2. And that was a vision, a dream for Ezra to see that. And he most likely probably seen you. Right? So reward comes from after endurance. Right? The reward comes after the endurance. Right? 1 Peter 4, 12 to 13. Beloved, think not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some stranger thing happened unto you. But rejoice inasmuch as ye are partakers of Mashiach's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding gladness. Why is that? It's because you know, you're in the knowing. Oh, I gotta suffer. Oh, this is gonna happen. Right? This is why we don't boast in the law. We don't boast in our righteousness. We boast in YAHAWASHI, YAHAWAHSHI, YAHAWASHI. We have a zeal for YAHAWASHI, not a zeal for the law. Through YAHAWASHI, we do the law because man's going to the Lord. Right? YAHAWASHI can't deny himself. So if YAHAWASHI is, he was the word, so he was doing the law. If he abide in you, he's going to do the things that's pleasing unto the Heavenly Father. Look how it works. Trials are a part of walking in YAHAWASHI's footprints. Y'all ever walked in snow? I'm in Buffalo, so I don't know if y'all did. But one time when my foster mom was in a blizzard, and I was like, what, 5'4", 5'3", and she walking, and she said, Salaki, In order for us to get to the house, she said, just walk in my footsteps. Her footprints was deep as heck, but that helped me get through the snow faster. Right? How much more YAHAWASHI? Right? The trials are a part of walking in YAHAWASHI's footprints. He had to go through suffering. His suffering was different, but it's still suffering. The Lord counted all of us to suffer a certain type of way. Right? Let's get this in Psalms 34 and 19. Psalms 34 and 19. It says, many are the afflictions of the righteous, but Yahweh delivereth him out of them all. Right? In the NLT, the righteous person faces many troubles, but Yahweh comes to rescue each time. Didn't Daniel had to get his affliction in the furnace? Didn't Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael have to handle their affliction? And the Lord delivered them. He's never early, never late. He's always on time. But we're gonna get hit with many afflictions, right? Let's get this. 2 Corinthians, the 4th chapter. In verse 17. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far exceeding and eternal weight of glory. In the NLT, for our present troubles are small and won't last very long, yet they produce for us a great, it produced for us a glory that vastly outweighs them and will last forever, right? That eternal weight of glory, man. Oh, man. What is it? I think it's in Romans 8. Romans 8 and 18. Let's see. This is Romans 8 and 8. So rocky. Look, I might have to go to the physical. Yeah, I'll go to the physical. You probably find it faster. Romans chapter 8, verse 8. Verse 18, it says, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed. So this is light. This is something little, because it's not compared to what you're going to get if you endure to the end, right? Affliction now brings glory later, right? When certain things happen in my life, out of nowhere, doesn't matter what it is, I believe it's my chastisement, it's my affliction. And it helps me not to stress about it too much. It's lucky. And it helps me to actually accept it. It's all of the Lord, man, to sharpen you up every moment in your life. If you fell in the energy, definitely get this, man. I'm telling you. But Lord willing, this is edifying. I don't want to drown it too much. Of course, go get some sleep. But faith is going to take us the distance, man. Faith is going to take us the distance. And if somebody else that's around you got faith, that's another confirmation faith going to take you the distance. Because if a brother got faith and he see you slacking, he going to get on that. He going to get on your butt. If you saying something wrong, a brother going to rebuke you just so you can sharpen. The whole point is for the elect to get the kingdom, man. Repent unto the Lord and be converted. Be changed. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM HaKadosh, the Wadi Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI for this lesson, for allowing us to be edified. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. A mighty shalom to them for electing the same Spirit that's teaching this word in sound doctrine, and in the same Spirit, shalom to the Akwatiyam, believers in His faith and His truth, Lord willing that you all continue to endure and be sincere, continue to pursue your law, which is being a loving and silent and virtuous wife, and Lord willing, the most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in faith. Shalom, shalom. Abba, abba.